Have you ever felt that your own mind is a beautiful but dangerous place that never truly allows you to rest? For many highly intelligent people, the very capacity to think deeply is the same force that makes happiness feel impossible. It is the heavy weight of seeing the world with too much clarity, noticing the cracks that everyone else ignores. We call this the curse of high intelligence, a state where every joy is immediately dismantled by a relentless analytical brain. Meet Arthur, a brilliant man who can solve the most complex equations but cannot solve the mystery of his own sadness. Arthur spends his days dissecting the universe, yet he finds himself paralyzed by the simple act of enjoying a quiet afternoon. He looks at a sunset and sees atmospheric refraction instead of beauty, losing the magic in a sea of technical data. To the world, Arthur is a beacon of logic, but inside he is drowning in a cold ocean of existential questions. The truth is that Arthur doesn't struggle because he is broken, he struggles because he overanalyzes the foundation of joy. We often believe that knowing more will lead to peace, but often, the more you know, the less you feel. For Arthur, and perhaps for you, intelligence is a double-edged sword that cuts through the illusions that make life comfortable. Arthur grew up in an environment where his intellect was his primary identity, leaving his emotional needs in the deep shadows. He learned early on that logic was a safe refuge, but he forgot that the heart doesn't speak the language of math. In his childhood, being smart was a shield, but as an adult, that shield has become a heavy suit of armor. He became a master of intellectualization, using his brain to explain away feelings that he was actually too afraid to feel. As an adult, this habit has created a wall between him and the messy, spontaneous, and irrational world of human happiness. When a moment of peace arrives, Arthur's brain immediately starts looking for the hidden catch or the inevitable future failure. It tells him that happiness is just a temporary chemical imbalance that will soon be corrected by a much harsher reality. Instead of living, Arthur is constantly simulating life, running thousands of scenarios in his head to avoid making a mistake. He struggles because he values truth over well-being, forgetting that a happy life often requires a certain amount of surrender. This behavior is often fueled by existential loneliness, the feeling that no one else truly sees the complex patterns you see. Arthur feels that he is a deep-sea diver in a world where everyone else is perfectly happy staying in the shallows. There is a deep, hidden belief that if he stops thinking for even a second, the entire world will collapse. For people like Arthur, simple pleasures feel like a betrayal of their intellectual integrity and their search for deeper meaning. They aren't enjoying the journey, they're too busy calculating the exact coordinates and the most efficient path to the end. But Arthur's high intelligence comes with a tragic price. He is brilliant at understanding life, but terrible at actually living it. Each hour spent in deep abstraction is an hour he isn't actually connecting with the warm, breathing people around him. He builds a world of perfect theories that eventually becomes a cold, quiet prison where his true self is locked away. The analysis loop creates a profound exhaustion that makes the simple act of smiling feel like an impossible, heavy chore. Arthur looks at the world and wonders how others can find such joy in things that seem so profoundly trivial. He feels like a stranger in a foreign land where he knows the language perfectly but cannot understand the local heart. The tragedy is that while he is seeking the ultimate answer, he is missing the beautiful questions written in the present. But there is a way for Arthur to bridge the gap between his brilliant mind and his long-neglected, aching heart. It begins with the radical realization that intelligence is not just about logic, but also about the wisdom of feeling. You are not a failure for being unhappy. You are simply a person whose brain is working too hard to protect you. Healing starts when Arthur learns to recognize the mind trap, that specific cold moment when analysis replaces actual raw human experience. Instead of asking, "Why am I feeling this?" he can practice just saying, "I am feeling this," and letting it be. He can learn to embrace the art of not knowing, realizing that mystery is the very thing that makes life beautiful. Complex theories are fascinating, but it is the simple, unexplainable connections that actually make our lives worth living every day. Choosing to be present over being right is a radical act of self-kindness that breaks the power of the thinker. Arthur must also learn to forgive the child who had to be the smart one just to feel seen or safe. He needs to tell that younger version of himself that he is worthy of love even when he is completely confused. Happiness is not a logical conclusion. It is a physical sensation of being connected to the world and to yourself. It is through the quiet moments where the mind stops, the gaps between thoughts, that the light of real peace finally shines. Imagine Arthur sitting in a garden, closing his eyes, and finally letting the wind be just the wind, nothing more. He doesn't analyze the temperature, he doesn't calculate the wind speed, he just feels the soft, cool air on his skin. That single moment of unthinking is the most courageous and liberating thing Arthur has ever done in his entire adult life. It is the moment the professor walks out of the library and into the bright, warm sunshine of a real afternoon. You don't have to understand anything to enjoy anything. You can simply be a part of the beautiful, messy whole. The people who truly matter will love you for your depth, but they will stay for the warmth of your presence. Every time Arthur stops a thought loop, his internal library loses one more cold, heavy, and judgmental book from its shelves. He discovers that the world is a lot more vibrant and a lot less dangerous than his analytical mind ever believed. You are allowed to be simple. You are allowed to be irrational. You are allowed to just enjoy the small things. Your worth is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a constant fact that remains true even when you're quiet. If your intelligence makes you struggle, please know that the only person holding you to these standards is actually you. You have spent so much time sharpening your mind that you've forgotten to soften your heart for yourself and for others. The path to happiness for you is not through more thinking, but through a deeper acceptance of your own human vulnerability. You are safe now, and the truth you seek is usually found in the very feelings you've been trying to outrun. Take another deep breath, let the theories go, and realize that you are doing just fine right here in this moment. I'm Leo, and I hope this note reminds you that you are allowed to be happy, even without a reason.